Often we go into a holiday get-together and we don't eat all day because we want to savor those foods. Well, that really leads you to overeating and you're miserable. So don't hesitate to eat a healthy breakfast, eat a salad or eat a lunch before you go. Make sure you're staying hydrated and then go and enjoy those meals and those foods that you normally love, but maybe you don't have to eat quite as much.
I would recommend just be choosy on some of those favorites that you like and listen to your body. Don't stuff yourself. Eat slowly. Go until you're about 80% full, until you're satisfied and not overly uncomfortable.
We've all heard people joke about having to loosen their belt after eating a large holiday meal or wearing pants with an elastic band so that they can enjoy more of their holiday favorites. Two Kansas State University family and consumer science specialists say that there are steps we can all take to enjoy holiday meals without worrying about our belts, pants, or compromising on flavor and taste. On today's Sound Living, eating smart and staying healthy during the holidays. Sound Living is a weekly public affairs program produced by Research and Extension at Kansas State University. I'm Jeff Wichman. Some recipes can be altered by simply reducing an ingredient or substituting one for another. For example, sugar can be reduced by 1/3. This works best in home canned and frozen fruits and in making puddings and custards. On this week's program, K-State Research and Extension Northwest Regional Family and Consumer Sciences Specialist Ashley Svaty and Southeast Regional Extension Family and Consumer Sciences Specialist Christina Holmes offer tips for eating healthy by modifying some dishes and being mindful of how much we're actually consuming. They also discuss the benefits of being active as a family and maintaining a normal routine as much as possible throughout the holidays. Kind of hard to believe, but the holidays will be here before we know it, and not only are holidays often stressful, but they also involve a lot of food as well. What we want to cover today is maybe how you can have the foods that you love, but maybe make them just a little bit healthier. Christina, when we think about maybe ways to cut, what can we cut?
So there's lots of things you could do to make recipes healthier or planning ahead for the holidays. The first thing is I wouldn't recommend making any modifications to a recipe the day of the event or the day of the holiday get-together. You don't want to get kicked out of the family because you make something and you ruin the recipe. What I would recommend is, start to sample things now. Look at recipes that you might be interested in making and gradually make modifications. You could always reduce your sugar by, if the recipe calls for a cup, perhaps try 3/4 of a cup in a recipe instead. Or if it calls for a cup of oil, try 3/4 of a cup. Those small modifications you can make can reduce your overall calories without having a huge impact on the quality of the product or how it tastes.
A lot of times that's personal preference, and a lot of times it may be recipes that have been handed down throughout the years. And like you say, things have changed, and even our taste buds have changed. So something that was really sugary and felt maybe good way back when is going to seem really sugary now.
Yeah, so making those small changes. You could even, dabble with trying some whole wheat flour in substitution of some of the all-purpose flour in a recipe. But I can't emphasize enough, try that product ahead of time, make those modifications, and then if you like it, then take it to your holiday get-together.
So I guess we need to make notations of what we maybe change in the recipe?
Absolutely. So any modification you make, write it down, and so that way you can replicate that again when your big event happens. So planning ahead is the key to reduce stress, stay organized, and make healthier choices around the holiday season. So thinking about now what recipes you're going to prepare, start adding those items on your grocery list. So if you know you're going to need canned pumpkin, you're going to need evaporated milk, you maybe need frozen peas, buy those things now. That way you're going to have them available when that holiday season gets here. And it also is going to help reduce your spending around the holiday season.
Yeah, things have not been quite as scarce this year as they have been in some of the past years, but there are those certain ingredients that do seem to go really quick, especially maybe if you live in a smaller community.
Absolutely, and food costs, as we know, are increasing. So if we can spread that spending out prior to the holiday season, it's going to save your budget and hopefully reduce your stress as well.
Maybe check the cabinets, too, just to see what you actually have and don't have.
Yeah, definitely. Look what you have in stock. And to kind of go off of what Christina was saying about making changes to some of your dishes, another biggie during the holidays is everything in moderation. The holidays bring out family favorites, and some of those family favorites aren't meant to be changed and meant to be made healthier. So some things can be made healthier, but really, if you know that grandma's pumpkin pie is going to be there, enjoy that pumpkin pie and really savor it. Eat slowly and really enjoy it. You're not going to get grandma's pumpkin pie every day, so just enjoy it. It's the holidays.
I think that is key. And maybe along those same lines, knowing how many people are expected to come for lunch or dinner so that you really know how many you're preparing for.
Oh, definitely planning ahead of time. If you're planning for 10 and 20 come, that can be pretty stressful. So texting, calling your family members to see who's coming on board is an excellent plan.
They're going to be bringing something you would maybe like to know ahead of time so they don't just show up with grandma's Jell-O or whatever.
Yes, yeah. So you can kind of figure out what's going to be all on the menu, see who's bringing the rolls, see who's bringing grandma's pumpkin pie, see who's bringing some salad, some fruit and veggie trays. And another tip, if you are wanting something healthy during the holidays, is to make it and bring it yourself. If you're unsure of what's going to be there, bring something that you enjoy, that you know you will like, and that is nutritious.
I was here, too, about taking what you really like, looking things over, because a lot of times it's kind of buffet style when you're doing these big meals. And if you get the things that you know you really want first, maybe not even a need for seconds.
Absolutely. And think about that day. Often we go into a holiday get-together and we don't eat all day because we want to savor those foods. Well, that really leads you to overeating and you're miserable. So don't hesitate to eat a healthy breakfast, eat a salad or eat a lunch before you go. Make sure you're staying hydrated, and then go and enjoy those meals and those foods that you normally love, but maybe you don't have to eat quite as much.
It's a lot of times the side dishes that kind of trip us up, or in my case, most likely desserts.
Yeah, I would recommend just be choosy. You can try different things, but be choosy on some of those favorites that you like, and listen to your body. Don't stuff yourself. Eat slowly. Go until you're about 80% full, until you're satisfied and not overly uncomfortable. The holidays are fantastic. We've got family, we've got food, but we don't want to be uncomfortable because then we can't enjoy the holidays with our families. So really eat until you're about 80% full, until you're still comfortable, so you can enjoy your family and not just be stuck on the couch, just uncomfortable the rest of the day.
Maybe so we don't have to loosen the belt 1 or 2 notches, but we can still be comfortable.
You got it.
When we think about these big meals, we do often tend to eat without thinking, sometimes, especially if it's just happened to be laying out. So another thing we maybe need to keep in mind is, how much are we picking up before we even eat the meal?
Yeah, absolutely. So sometimes we're grazing throughout the day, or as we're cooking those meals, we're trying samples of everything. And by the time it's time to eat, we're already full. And so just being mindful of those things, being mindful of how much we're eating, what appetizers that we're offering. And as Ashley said, maybe you're bringing the fruit tray, maybe you're bringing a vegetable tray, offer some nutritious things for everyone in the family to enjoy.
Goes for kids, too. I know that they have certain things that they're going to like, but if you're a mom or a dad or somebody who's watching the kids, you got to make sure that they're getting some healthy things on the plate, too.
Yes, starting out with, we all know those nutritious items that we should be eating and that kids should be eating. So start them out with their fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, because their little bellies can fill up pretty quickly. And we definitely don't want them to fill up on junk food. They'll be uncomfortable and it just won't be good. So really focusing on those everyday foods, the fruits, vegetables, the lean proteins, and some of their go-tos. Kids have their favorites just like we have our favorites. So letting them keep that kind of routine also.
You mentioned recipes and maybe making some alterations to recipes. How do we know a recipe that we're getting is one that we could probably trust, maybe more so than another? Because there's a ton of things I see on Facebook and social media. So how do we know that we're getting something that's good to begin with?
So looking at your source, there's a lot of information out there. You see things on social media and you don't know if someone's tried it before, if it tastes good or if it doesn't. So I would look for, resources that you can trust. Try those recipes ahead of time. Honestly, look back at those resources and those recipes you prepare year after year. I would not try a new recipe for your holiday get-together because you don't know if anyone's going to like it or not. But also just thinking about where you find that recipe. If there's nutrition and facts information on that recipe as well is really important. If you have family members that have diabetes or hypertension, being able to look at those nutrition facts to see if it's something that they could easily have or incorporate into their meal is important.
Do most families have maybe just 1 or 2 key dishes that they rely on year after year? So we're not talking about overdoing the entire menu, right?
No, I know our family. We have somebody always bringing the green bean casserole, somebody bringing the pumpkin pie, somebody bringing this salad, someone bringing this and that. And we usually don't stray too far from that. So if somebody brings something a little different, people might try it a little bit, but we kind of have our go-tos. And we really can't go talking about nutrition and the holidays without talking about food safety during the holidays. Whenever we're eating, just remember, always wash your hands, keep hot food hot, cold food cold, get food in the refrigerator after 2 hours. So the 2-hour rule. So if it's buffet style and everybody's out talking, catching up, get that food back in the refrigerator or freezer within 2 hours and you should be good to go. Really think about that food safety because people are going to want those leftovers and nobody wants to get sick after the holidays.
Yeah, and there's some things we think that we can leave out on the counter longer, but depending on what the ingredients are, they maybe need to go into the fridge even quicker.
Yes, pretty much all foods need to go back in the refrigerator if they've been prepared, really except for fruit pies. Fruit pies have so much sugar in them that they are usually okay to sit out.
And it's important to reuse our leftovers. So think creatively in how you can incorporate that into a soup or a stew, maybe even making a pot pie or, maybe some fajitas or something with that leftover turkey meat. You can get creative. And because you've put a lot of money into the foods that you're preparing, and so we don't want that to go to waste. If you're not going to be able to use it immediately, let's say, family's traveling and you don't have the need for all those leftovers, as Ashley said, stick it in the freezer. You can pull that ham out in a few weeks and maybe put it with some beans and make it, something when the weather's cold.
And the reheating is important as well.
Yes. Yep. Whenever we reheat leftovers, we want to get our food thermometer out, make sure that it reaches 165 degrees for all leftovers.
I think we also need to keep in mind that not only do we have the eating side, but we also have the sitting around side. So how do we maybe avoid let's just call it total couch potato? How do we avoid that?
Yes, after we eat after we eat a big meal, but you don't have to eat a big meal. But if we feel like just sitting down and kind of doing nothing, as we've been talking about, the holidays are focused on families. So getting active together as a family, going outside, playing football, playing something around the house if it's cold or snowy or rainy, just getting together and being physically active together. And the holidays are full of travel. So if you're traveling, pack sneakers, pack comfy clothes. If you're staying at a hotel or somewhere away from home, take the stairs or choose somewhere that has a pool or a fitness center that really encourages physical activity because the holidays are fantastic times, but we really don't want to stray too much away from our regular routine. I know I don't feel my best when I'm not physically active or eating nutritious foods, so no matter what time of year it is, I really want to focus on taking care of my body.
I think we also forget the fact that this is a long holiday. It can be a 2, 3, 4-day stay for some people, either in a hotel or with relatives. So again, we have the constant chance to eat more food. We're out of our normal routine. So trying to stick to that normal routine can be good.
Absolutely. And you think about the holiday season, it can be stressful as well. You're traveling, you're taking off work, there's some financial commitments, family commitments, and those kind of things. And so physical activity and maintaining that regular physical routine is really important for your mental health as well. And so thinking ahead is important. If you know you're going to grandma's house, she may not have footballs for the kids or basketballs. And so, have some activities available. If the weather cooperates, maybe have a scavenger hunt with the kids after dinner. Implement some new family traditions that way. So that way you're not just sitting on the couch. It's every year we're going to do a scavenger hunt or we're going to see who can build the best snowman or whatever it may be to get people outside and get them active and having fun together.
Always nice if you can get outside. Sometimes it's a little bit more difficult, but there are some kind of physical active games you can play inside too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you get creative with things and get creative with your family and your kids and think about who's going to be there. And so maybe it's a dance party with the kids after dinner, or maybe it's, working with grandma and grandpa and doing some kind of exercises or dancing. Ways to incorporate some fun and memories with your family is really important. But it's also going to get that activity level in. It's going to help reduce stress and help everyone have a good time together.
That's K-State Research and Extension Southeast Regional Family and Consumer Sciences Specialist, Christina Holmes. She is also the state coordinator of the Dining with Diabetes program. Ashley Svaty, Northwest Extension Regional Family and Consumer Sciences Specialist, and one of the state coordinators for the Stay Strong, Stay Healthy program, was also a guest on this week's program. To learn more about health and nutrition, being physically active, and ways to reduce stress, contact your county or district extension office. Sound Living is a weekly public affairs program produced by Research and Extension at Kansas State University. I'm Jeff Wichman, and this is the K-State Radio Network.